that. So welcome to our setting up your ideal client sales funnel. Let me again just double check a couple things. I want to make sure you can see my screen okay, and make sure that my sound is coming in loud and clear. Plus, I want to say hi to a few of you. So Antonio, welcome. Brian, Debbie, Emily, great to have you on the line. Greg. Glad that you're on. Haley, hi. Great job with the book, by the way, Haley. Hi, Jackie, Jade, all the way from Australia. Nice talking to you yesterday. Jeff, Jim, Lori from UK, or maybe you're back in Norway. I'm not sure, Lori, but tell Fruta hi for me. Randy, Rodney, Wayne, go ahead and type in the box. Let me know that you can see my screen good. Jeff says yes. Randy says yes. Good. All right, so do me a favor, just bear with me. You know, I like a lot of interactivity, so please, I like to use the question box. So I'm going to be asking you some questions along the way, and hopefully we're going to make this interactive to the point where you actually get some of this thought through and done right on the webinar. As far as creating your ideal client sales funnel, this is going to be at least two parts and probably three, because there's a lot for us to talk about. We're going to talk about in the future, we're going to talk about setting up joint ventures in your market, filling that sales funnel. We're going to talk a little bit more about some advanced Facebook strategies. If you didn't see the previous Facebook webinar that we did, then please, by all means, get on that. It's about an hour, maybe an hour and a half with question and answer. But I think it was really informative. I opened up my ads and targeting and everything. We're going to talk about autoresponder follow-up strategies. We're going to talk quite a bit about online sales funnels, but there's lots of ways to do this that I'm going to discuss, including using mass media, which works very well with some of your businesses. Others it does not, because you're much more targeted. So we're going to talk about all of these things over the next few weeks. Today is going to be more setting up kind of the foundation and really focusing on your lead magnet itself. So let's jump right into it. So having an ideal client sales funnel is really all about one word, and that is flow. We want to create a flow, even a flood if we can, of new clients that are coming into your business on a regular basis. One, in such a way that because of your sales funnel, you can literally turn up your advertising costs just a little bit and get more and more clients dependent upon the size of your organization, and literally the scale and the possibility for scaling this is really limitless, and that's what we want to do. So let's talk through a little bit about the challenges and the signs of what I call funnel dysfunction. So funnel dysfunction, these are some challenges that you may be having with your funnel. So number one is your list is too small. I know all of us have different businesses. Some of us have businesses that reach a mass market, like financial advisors, etc. But others of us are consultants to maybe a smaller, more targeted niche, and that is completely fine. Whatever the size of your overall market audience is, the question is, relative to that size, is your list too small? That's the first problem we often see. The second is that the list is not growing the way that it should be. If the list is only growing because we're refer to client here or refer to client there, and we don't have any automated type of funnel that's bringing clients in while we sleep, while we eat, while we're on holiday or vacation, then we have some funnel dysfunction going on. The last thing is that our list is not responsive. Perhaps that's because we've not been giving great content. Perhaps it's that we've left our list alone a little bit. We haven't known what to do with them. I really want to spend some time and talk about how we can overcome this funnel dysfunction, as I call it. What we're going to do for a few minutes, I know you guys like my artwork. Jade especially has been very vocal about my artwork, so I want to look at the problems associated with a typical funnel and what we really want to create overall for our funnel. So I'm going to do a little artwork for you here. We're going to jump out of the webinar for just a second and jump into good old paintbrush on my Mac. So Make sure you guys stay with me here. All right, so let's go to regular old black here for a second. All right, so let's say that this is your standard graph. This is time, and this is engagement of your list or your ideal client. Unfortunately for many of us, this is what we see with our sales funnel. We see clients coming in, dropping off very, very quickly, and then kind of going along like this as far as the engagement over time. And there are four primary problems with this kind of client engagement. The first is that we just don't have enough leads coming into our sales funnel to begin with. The leads are low. We have to do something about that. The second is this span right here. Unfortunately, it's a short attention span of our clients. And this is kind of natural, or our prospects in this case. This is kind of natural, but we have to do something to increase their attention span in our business. The third problem is right here, and that is that it falls off, their attention falls off, engagement falls off too quickly. It's going to fall some, certainly, but if it falls off very, very quickly and very far, then we have some issues there. And lastly is that the engagement kind of flatlines. There's no re-engagement happening within our client funnels. So here's what we really want it to look like, and here's what we're going to try to build out today, an engagement over time that changes. First, we want it to look more like this, kind of like waves. So the first positive, obviously, is that we want to bring in more leads into our client funnel. That's the number one key, and we want to be able to increase that over time as we get capacity to work with more and more clients. Second is we want a longer high engagement and attention span period, where in the beginning, yes, they're very interested, but because we're giving great content and we're keeping them engaged longer, they're going to have a greater propensity to work with us. Third is that, of course, they're not going to fall off as far as the engagement goes. And last but not least, we want to create these events, if you will, where on occasion we are re-engaging our clients and re-engaging their attention and their interest in our products and our programs. You know, many of you, perhaps over time, we spoke, you were interested initially, but the timing wasn't right. Later on, because of a webinar or because of an email that was sent, you re-engaged and became clients and are doing books. The same is true, of course, for your clients, but we want to create these type of events on a regular basis. So this is what we want to do as far as what our typical funnel, what we want to create, the green line. Obviously, this we want to do away with. We want to get away from that, and we can create a system that does this on a regular basis, keeps people re-engaged, and keeps bringing clients back to us on a regular basis. So let's jump back over into our PowerPoint. So that's what we want to do, and that's the kind of funnel that we want to create. So I want to get some engagement from you guys. Obviously, the little funny cartoon there. So as you can see, it's less of a sales funnel and more of a sales funnel cake. That's not what we want. We obviously want a sales funnel that is much more interactive and that creates that one word that we want, and that's flow. So let me ask you guys, what is the current condition of your sales funnel? Talk to me about what the current condition of your sales funnel is, and where do you feel like you need the most help? Okay. And yes, Debbie, it will be recorded. So go over to the question box. Do me a favor. Give me some feedback on the current condition of your sales funnel. What does it look like? Where are your challenges? Where do you need the most help in that regard? I'm going to give you a few seconds to give me some feedback on your sales funnel. All right, Al, generating quality leads. Good. Okay, so it's the initial, the number of leads that are coming in are the biggest challenge. Good. All right. Randy's working on his landing page, so you're really just building your online funnel. I totally get that. That's no problem. But you're bringing clients in another way, Randy, and that is your funnel. That may be through speaking engagements or other things. Tell me, where do you need help in that regard? Jade says, all of it. Great, Jade. Then first things first, we'll start working on what all that looks like. Jeffrey, thank you. Sales conversions, lots of leads and interest. Awesome. Just an FYI, Jeffrey, we did that converting high-end clients webinar a few weeks ago. And if you haven't watched that, I would really, really recommend that you watch it, because that process that I walked through was super helpful in helping me to create a system where I could really help a lot of people. And I think it would help you a ton too. Antonio, too much feast or famine, peaks and valleys. Okay, good. So you have people coming in at times, then you're working on them, but because there's no kind of automated process, the engagement goes way back down, and then you have to hustle and get more leads in. Good. Bert, it's in place and working, just needs to be tweaked. Love it. Awesome. Then hopefully we can help with some different tweaks there. Al, keeping them engaged a second. Good. Number of leads here, both online and other ways. Good. Antonio, either have too many people or not enough. Okay. Haley, need to get more speaking engagements. Good. Good deal. Your best-selling book will certainly do that for you. Congratulations, by the way, Haley, on all the progress you're making on that. Greg, lacking automatic drip and no re-engagement. Okay, that's the autoresponder stuff, which we're certainly going to be talking about in the future as well. Antonio, do a seminar or two, then I'm swamped. Okay, all right, so what we want to do is we want to create something that's much more systematic. Yes, it is being recorded. You were asking, Brian, if it's being recorded. Absolutely. Good. Let's see what else we have here. Randy sending. Kevin, I'm beginning to build the funnel, however, need to understand opt-in rate, conversion rate regard to Facebook ads. Yeah, we're going to talk more specifically about advanced Facebook strategies, but today we're going to focus more specifically on helping you create your magnet. So we'll start with kind of what I call your money map, and then we're going to move into how to build out your lead magnet. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Terrence, we have a great conversion rate, but need more in the door. Good. This will help you a ton with that. This is a great system to set up for someone in your industry. Terrence, by the way, welcome from New Zealand. So great to have you on the webinar. All right, and Randy is developing a webinar. Okay, good. Super feedback. Thanks for doing that. All right, so let's jump into what your kind of outline for kind of pre-building your customer lead generation funnel. And that's what I call your money map, or your 4 C's of creating your money map. And they are: who is the customer? What is the channel you're using? What is the carrot or lead magnet that's attracting them? And what is the conversion tool that you're using to turn that prospect into a client? So I'm going to give you a couple of different examples of what all of this looks like. I'm going to show you different Facebook ads that are running for others. Obviously, all of you are in my author program. So ultimately, what we're looking to do is to create a client sales funnel, an attraction funnel that's all built around your best-selling book. However, and this is a big however, many of you do not have your book completed yet. It's not an overnight process, obviously, creating a book and then making it a bestseller. This is taking months and months. Some of you are a little further along than others, completely understandable. For those of you that don't have your book yet, I'm going to talk about how you can develop your lead magnet, and that's going to be the focus of today. We're going to talk about how you can develop that lead magnet from the content of your book prior to your book being done. We'll talk about several different things. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this is the money map where you want to begin from. Okay, 4 things that you need to think about. You may remember when you started with me, you filled out an author prep questionnaire, and the questions that were asked on that author prep questionnaire were things having to do with who your ideal client is. They were questions like, tell me about your ideal client. What are their fears? What are their frustrations? What are their aspirations? What are the things that they're feeling inside? What are the problems that you're looking to solve? The beautiful way to think about the first C, customer, is you want to fix their $100,000 problem that they're facing in their life. And I know almost everybody on the line is dealing with some type of business related issue, though uh, someone like Terrence that has a business that's physical, working with people's health, that certainly is $100,000 or more product. All you have to do is get sick to know that. So it doesn't matter what the problem is, but you need to think in terms of what's the big problem that I fix, that $100,000 problem for that customer. What are their fears about it, their worries, their concerns, and their aspirations? So you're going to create that customer avatar. And I know that almost all of us have begun working on that, really thinking through what that ideal customer looks like. Second thing you want to think about is the channel that you're going to use. When I talk about channel here, what I'm talking about is your marketing channel. Are you a mass media type person, meaning that you have an industry where mass media would work, like radio, television, or print in a mass sense? I've talked about Facebook ads several times, and of course, I've done some training on that because Facebook is a place where really all of us can generate great leads. So it could be social media or Facebook is our primary channel. It could be speaking engagements. And if it's speaking engagements and you getting up in front of an audience, then you need to think through what the funnel looks like to take that audience of 100, 500, or 1,000 people into the 50 or 100 of them that really want to take the next step of engagement with you. What's that channel? The next step of engagement is attracted to you by number 3, and that is the carrot. So that's the lead magnet that you need to develop so that they take the next step. In a speaking engagement, I know that several of you do kind of ongoing speaking. I think, Randy, you and I had a long talk about this process, but oftentimes you'll be speaking on a stage where perhaps the person that's put the event together or the corporation that you're speaking for really doesn't want you to give any type of serious sales pitch. So what you have to do is you have to find a way to attract them and get potential client engagement from them in a way that's a lot more covert. So you may offer some type of, I've called it a power pack. For example, if you're speaking in front of an audience, and again, you can't make an overt sales pitch, you may offer something where they get a copy of your free best-selling book, if it's done yet. If not, then it could be your tip sheet, or it could be your video series, along with perhaps some type of one-on-one consultation or strategy session. And that leads us into number 4, which is the conversion tool. Now we're going to talk, I just gave an example for speaking, but we're going to talk primarily about what this looks like online using Facebook or using some type of pay-per-click. So another example, and I'll give you just a couple of base examples from my own business. When we did this using my best-selling book for my financial solutions company, basically for Crown, our customer was a troubled business, or it could even be a troubled individual, as long as they were somebody of some means and had significant trouble, meaning they were buried in credit card debt or some type of financial type issue. So that was our ideal client. The channel we used primarily was radio, though we did some online stuff, pay-per-click with Google as well as Facebook. The carrot for us was my free best-selling book. We offered it completely free, a physical copy of the book. What they had to do was either call in or go online through our sales funnel, fill out the form, and then they would receive a call. And the conversion process or conversion tool was that one-on-one consultation with one of my salespeople. With the best-selling author program, it looked like, who was my ideal client? That's typically a business owner that's looking to take the next step in their business. They're already a successful business owner, and they want to take it to the next level. They want to stop hunting and become the hunted. The channel that I primarily used was Facebook. The carrot was my video case study showing multiple different clients that had done this and experienced success, and the conversion tool was the one-on-one strategy session. So your first kind of general map regarding your client funnel is this 4C's money map. These are the things in a general sense that you have to be thinking about when it comes to the client funnel. Does that make sense? Let me get a little bit of feedback from you guys. I want to hear, what you've done regarding your client sales funnel. Let me make sure that this is kind of coming through loud and clear and you understand the steps in the process. So give me a little feedback, and then I'm going to go into another brief drawing to kind of show exactly what we're going to be working on over the next few minutes. So give you 10 seconds for some feedback, make sure I haven't lost anybody, and that you see how this can translate into your business as well. So take a few seconds, give me some feedback. Antonio, what if I have my book, but I'm waiting for your help to make it a bestseller? That's no problem. We're going to talk today about what you're going to do even if you don't have the book completed yet. Al Wagner, totally get the concept. It's just in the execution of an effective plan. Well, we're going to talk about what the plan looks like and then talk a little bit about how we can help each other to make sure that we execute. Should we be building only one funnel or multiple funnels? Okay, good question. There's nothing wrong with building multiple funnels. Of course, the most important thing is starting with one funnel, answering these 4C's, getting that successful, and then moving to another. I have my whiteboard right in front of me as I do this webinar, and on my 90-day plan, number 2 for my 90-day plan is start another traffic source. And I have written under it YouTube, banner ads, Google pay-per-click, podcast/radio, because I have a lot of experience in that. So obviously, the 4C's, once you get one funnel working, then you can take the elements of that successful funnel and translate that into multiple different traffic sources as well as multiple different offers. So good question. Rodney, we hired a company to do our funnel 3 months ago. They do almost nothing and it still isn't happening. Sorry about that, my friend. Well, we can talk a little bit about some specifics in our next coaching call, but I think you're going to get a lot of help as far as putting that together on this webinar as well. Terrence currently setting up speaking engagement with local businesses in their staff meetings. That's great. And in fact, Terrence, we probably want to do a call to talk about how you can go from those speaking engagements where I'm sure they don't want you to do an overt pitch into something where there's a soft, really positive kind of transition into a one-on-one that'll take these people from prospects or suspects into clients. Haley, I can see how this translates to get clients, get permission before getting the larger permission, correct? Emily, I've worked on the avatar, appreciate the speaking engagement offer without a sales pitch. Good. That'll really help, I think, with what you do. If we're not very techy, would it be better to start with something like radio? Well, in your business, Antonio, probably would, but not for most of the clients on the line. I think for most of us on this webinar, Facebook is going to be the best place for you to start and test your funnel. Cool thing with Facebook, again, if you haven't gone through the previous Facebook training, then I would highly recommend it because there was a lot of detail as far as setting up your audience, understanding how to use lead pages, which is a product that I use to set up your landing page. Go through that. We'll do some advanced Facebook online stuff in the next class or the class after. But that's a good place to start. Jade, makes sense. My old business did the same thing, offering a free report on radio and in print articles with a follow-up sales call. Exactly. Direct mail drops and database, Terrence says, and social media, MailChimp with video testimonials. Good. Really, really good. Okay, so let's spend a few minutes and kind of introduce, the simple. I don't want this to be a complicated thing. If you feel it's too complicated, then probably you're not going to do it. So I want to just kind of draw out what this simple sales funnel looks like for you. And I do not want to end the webinar. So here we go. All right, so let's get out of this and let's go ahead and start a new paintbrush really quickly. So here's the very, very simple funnel that we want to build out. and that all of us can do. So our first step is really a simple Facebook ad. And that's the place where I'm going to recommend that everybody begin, because Facebook is a great place for us to test very, very inexpensively our advertising. So we start with our Facebook ad. That leads to our second C, which is our carrot. We're going to call it our lead magnet in this, okay? From there, the lead magnet goes to our thank you page. And here's my suggestion for the thank you page. It is a video of some kind, even if that's not what you promised them, with information on taking the next step with you. In other words, the offer. Okay? So, Facebook ad to your lead magnet, very simple funnel. They say, yes, I'm interested in that lead magnet. The lead magnet isn't necessarily a video series. It could be a simple white paper. And we're going to talk about the absolute simplest lead magnet that you can create in just the next day or two and begin testing this. But then once they say yes to the lead magnet, we want to take them to a thank you page with a video on it. Why do we want to do that? We want to do that because at that moment, they've said yes to your carrot. They've said yes to your lead magnet. They're most interested at that moment in what you have to say and what you have to offer. A great way to create some empathy and to let them get to know you a little bit is, instead of, and this is a real mistake that a lot of people make in online marketing, instead of taking them to a page that says, please check your email box, thank you for subscribing, something that is just a complete waste of time. You have their complete attention right now. They are the most interested. If you take them to a video that simply says, in 5 minutes, thanks so much for your interest in my blank. In 5 minutes, you'll get that in your email box. But in the meantime, I thought I would share just a little bit about our program and a little bit about me and blah, blah, blah. And you can take just a couple minutes and kind of let them know what the next step is in your process, meaning what your offer is. For me, that's always an offer for a one-on-one strategy session, either with myself or my project manager, Sean. The same thing is true for many of you, especially if you're a consultant or you do a lot of work with individuals, or maybe an individual within a corporation that's going to bring you in. So that thank you page then gets some relationship going. They get to know you a little bit, see you just a little bit, and then they see, okay, well, I'm really interested. What's the next step? Okay, the next step is maybe simple application that takes me to an appointment time, one-on-one, so I can learn a little bit more about what it is you do and how it is that we can work together. So again, really simple, something that you can begin testing immediately, a Facebook ad that leads to your lead magnet, the landing page. They say yes to that. It leads to a simple thank you page with video on it, and then that leads to your offer. And I'm going to show you some really specific examples of all this in a few minutes. Here's where our focus is going to be in the next few minutes, and I'm going to get some interaction, and we're going to talk quite a bit about what all this might look like. We're going to focus on creating the lead magnet today. So I'm going to take this as though you don't have your book yet. You have, the outline of your content. Maybe you have a lot of the content of your book. You have a good idea of who your ideal customer is, but the book isn't done. The book's not launched. And so you're wondering, do I just need to wait until all of this gets done a month from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, before I can start building my client sales funnel? And the answer is absolutely do not wait, because we can create something super, super attractive even prior to your book being out. Now, I just said that, but I do want to go through this. There's nothing more powerful. Once we get your lead magnet up and running, there's nothing more powerful than using your best-selling book as that client attraction piece. And one of the things that I recommend is setting up what we call a swipe file. It's a kind of a old-fashioned term that copywriters used to use, where they would swipe headlines or copy, and then use that to spur on their own ideas. So whenever you see something like this in your Facebook news feed, or even if you're receiving it via, say, direct mail or something like that, keep it. Look at what the headlines are. Look at what the content is. And you'll see every day I see new examples of people using their books, sometimes their best-selling books, to attract to them their ideal client. This, of course, is Russell Brunson. He's a great online marketer, almost predominantly online. Everybody probably knows who this guy is, Robert Kiyosaki. I just saw this the other day. It says here he's giving away his New York Times bestseller, Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. So here was his book. It was a New York Times bestseller. But what is he doing? You know, he's creating, either for the people that were already interested in him, he's creating a re-engagement spike. Remember I showed you that graph where you have a flatline period, and so you have to get people to re-engage with you. Well, here he's using his best-selling book. Maybe many of the people have already read or heard of Kiyosaki. So some that haven't, this is an opportunity for them to come into his client attraction funnel by getting a copy of his New York Times bestseller. Beautiful, beautiful way for him to attract new clients and to get re-engagement from old clients, or perhaps people that have been on his list that have flatlined over time. This is another one that I saw the other day. Live Out Loud, Claim Your Millionaire Maker book from best-selling author and speaker Loral Langemeier. Discover how to act, think, and generate cash, etc. You'll see these, and these are just the ones that I've noticed over the last couple of days, but you'll see these on a regular basis. So when your book is done and we've completed the marketing piece of it, it's a bestseller, that will be a fantastic lead generating source for you, whether we use it on mass media or whether you use it and just plug it right into your lead funnel. I said before, however, I want to spend some time talking about how you can build out that lead magnet right now, even though the book isn't complete yet. So let's talk a little bit about that for a few minutes. Okay, so these are two landing pages that were done by Lead Pages. Now, some of you guys know that we use Lead Pages, and I highly recommend you use Lead Pages to build out your landing page. You can even build out your thank you page. Basically, you can build out your entire funnel using just the Lead Pages source. So we use it for everything, and I have a full-time web guy that can build all of my pages himself, but I prefer Lead Pages because the opportunity to see what others' conversion rates are, always new pages by really great online marketers coming in. So you're better off using something like this, even if you had a full-time web guy like I do. So here's the thing about your lead magnet, and this is, I want to walk through with you how to create something that is like very easy to create, something that you can literally put together in a day or two, but it is going to be of high value to your ideal customer. Okay, when you think of that, there are two things that you can create that are very high value to your ideal customer and yet are pretty simple for you to put together. And that is something that has to do with tools of your trade, or something that has to do with tips to create some type of event in someone's life or business. Now, the interesting thing is this is really the same lead page, and this is Lead Pages Corporate. And these are two of their examples of their client attraction funnel. The first at the top is their free report, and this was their best converting lead page ever. It was a free report that gave the 5 tools that they used to create all their videos, including his $80 HD video camera. So anybody that was interested in creating video and using video to perhaps grow their list or convert clients, that's a potential customer for Lead Pages. Maybe it's not as super targeted as it could be, but still pretty well targeted. This 5 dirt cheap tools was nothing more and is nothing more than a list of the 5 tools that they use and some details of those tools. They weren't selling those tools. They weren't selling the HD camera. They weren't selling the green screen or the setup, the lavalier or the mic that they used. All they were interested in doing was giving their ideal client an opportunity, a carrot for them to engage and begin building a relationship with them. This was, as I said, their most successful one. One that was also very successful is this one at the bottom, which is I can't read it on my screen, free 4-step tutorial, how we create our highest converting opt-in bribe and our best landing page, which hilariously actually is the free report on the 5 dirt cheap tools. So they created a second landing page, which was basically a tips page on the 4 things that they did to create this result. So let's think for a few minutes, and I'm going to get some engagement from you because I want to think with you kind of out loud about your business, about your book, and how you can use that to create either tips or tools that in say a 1-sheet PDF could be a lead magnet that you could begin testing immediately. This doesn't have to be, an 8-page white paper or a 12-page report. Obviously, it can be those things, but just for simplicity's sake and high conversion sake, if you do a 1-page tip sheet or a 1-page tool sheet, then you're going to have some success with your ideal client. So let's talk for just a minute about what that might look like. Al, you've already begun, so I'm going to give you a few seconds. I'm going to start reading some of these. I want to hear from you. What could your 1-page tip sheet be? Or if you have tools in your business, and that could be, Terrence, thinking about you briefly, that might have to do with your kettlebell training, or it might have to do with, the 5 tools for home gym or something along those lines. So Al said, giving out common payroll mistakes chapter of your book. Excellent. And you know what, Al? It doesn't even have to be the whole complete chapter. It can be you basically, setting aside the 5 biggest common payroll mistakes that are costing, the average restaurant $16,272.12 per year. And you can have a 1-page sheet. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a minute on the next page, but you can do a 1-page sheet that basically spells that out. Rodney, the 5 sales most air conditioning contracts miss every summer. Beautiful. Great. So, and you can talk as well, Rodney, about what that is costing them. The 5 sales and what does it cost them to miss those sales. Emily is thinking a tip sheet, startup tips. Good. Think, while we're online and you're hearing what some of the others are suggesting for their businesses, Emily, think about what that might translate for you. Haley, the 7 essential questions you should ask your home care provider. Beautiful. Love that. How to reverse aging. That's good, but how about, the 5, obviously, 5 being a common thread here for just a minute, but, the 5 best tips, to reverse aging, or the 5 tools to do that, if you can think of what tools might be for that, Terrence. Al also sending people a link to create analytics for the restaurant. I love that. If what you're thinking about, Al, there is some type of, tool, online tool that they can then use, that's a whole lot like, this top left. If you can bring them to an online tool of some kind that gives them a report or gives them some information, that's a fantastic lead generator for your ideal client. Love that. Randy says, report on how to free up time from your business to be with your family. If that's a problem that is pretty prevalent in your business, Randy, then that would be great. I would just be as specific as you can about that. The 5 things that would look like. Antonio, 5 best books that changed my financial life forever. That's good. I think I would prefer something that came from you, Antonio, because you want to build up the credibility as being the expert, the one that's giving them these tips, the one that is giving them this advice. So I would recommend that it be, the 5 tips that changed your financial life forever. Jackie, 7-step system to kickstart the life you desire with a free copy of your book. I love that. Of course, I love the free copy of your book, and your book is almost out, so that's a pretty good situation for you. 5 tips how to look and feel younger. Good. You're getting there, Terrence. A little bit little bit richer, and let's do that. So let's move on to the next step. Jeffrey, 15 daily tips I use for over 40 years of awesome health. Love that. Love that. 15 tips may be a little too much. You may want to think in terms of a smaller number because you don't want anybody to think that it's work. Remember, this is a one-page PDF that you're giving them, something that's easy for you to create and something that's easy for them to digest. It's just that, it's that initial carrot. It's just that initial, we used to call it potato chip marketing. If you've ever wanted to get a squirrel or a critter of some kind to eat out of your hand, they'll never come down out of the tree and take a potato chip from your hand. But if you put a potato chip at the base of the tree and you walk 15 feet backwards, well, the squirrel will come down the tree, grab the potato chip, and run back up the tree. Forgive me if potato chips are bad for squirrels. It's just an example. So what do you do next? Well, you lay down a potato chip and you're now only 10 feet away instead of 15 feet away. He runs down the tree, grabs the potato chip, runs back up. You get the idea. Then you go 5 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet, and pretty soon the squirrel is eating out of your hand. This is just the initial potato chip. The video may be the second potato chip where they're going, oh, this guy Jeffrey seems like a cool guy. He's been doing this for 40 years. Oh, I didn't know that he started Immuno Labs. Wow, I didn't know he's run 300,000 tests on people. Wow, that's impressive. I was just interested in his tip sheet. You get the idea. Jade, 5 essential questions to ask before hiring a coach or therapist if you want to create real lasting change in your life. Good. I like it. All right. Oh, I went too far. All right. I created this for you guys to think in terms of how you can build something that's like really simple, one page PDF, something that, again, I'm thinking your book's not done, but you have content, you have ideas, and you want to begin building out your funnel now. You don't want to wait for your book to be done. If it is like Randy and he's already a bestseller, great. Then Randy, you just interchange everything we're talking about for your best-selling book. But for a lot of us that are on the line that aren't in that position, this is the way to do it. So let's work a little bit together on what that might look like. So let's say that rather than me leading people to my best-selling book for Crown or a video funnel, let's say that for my author program, wanted to create a tip sheet. So I did some thinking. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on this because I wanted to do it just like we were doing it on the webinar together. So let's say that obviously I know what people are interested in because I've been running some other lead funnels before, but when it comes to putting together a one-page tip sheet, here are some ideas on what it might look like for the best-selling author program. Something along the lines of 5 tips to easily create, or 5 tips to easily create a best-selling book that doubles your income. So there's a benefit. These are people that are interested about increasing their income. They already know or perhaps have written a book, and so they're interested in what that looks like. Let me make sure my sound is good. I'm hearing from Rodney that the sound went out. So just give me some feedback in the question box if you could. Let me know that the sound is okay. Hopefully that it is. I'll continue on though. All right, so 5 tips to easily create a best-selling book that doubles your income. Now, I already have my process. Okay, Jeff says okay, sound is good, Terrence good. Beautiful. Okay, so I already have my 3 phases of my best-selling author program, right? Just like you have the phases or whatever you might call them for your business. My phases are publish, promote, and profit. Those are my strategies, right? But let's say I wanted to create 5 tips using the publish, promote, profit strategy as an outline. So I might create something that looks like this. Tip number 1 might be how to create a title to hook your ideal client, okay? Because remember, the whole thing is about helping a business owner, coach, author, speaker to increase their income. So we want to set right from the beginning that the book and the title and the content is about hooking their ideal client. So my tip number 1 might be a paragraph on how to create a book, how to create a title that hooks your ideal client. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 would be something like speak your book. So we talk about, in that paragraph, I talk about, nobody has any time. No, very few business owners have time to sit down and write 100, 150, 200 pages. It took me almost 2 years to do that. For many of us that have gone through that process, we know how difficult it is. So we talk about tip number 2, how to speak your book. Tip number 3, again, my business, transcribe and ghostwrite your book. What that looks like, okay, you're speaking your book, but now that's not a book. That's just a step. The next step is transcribing it and then ghostwriting it. So now we have a book that's both your voice and that didn't take you 2 years to do. Tip number 4 might be how to promote your book. And tip number 5 might be how to profit from your book. And I would talk in that tip about the 3 phases of profiting with your book. I would talk about getting speaking engagements. I would talk about using your book for free publicity. And I would talk about using your book for lead generation. Now, in a paragraph, I couldn't say very much about those things. But in a one-page outline, one-page PDF, giving them the outline of my entire program, they're going to gauge and get a good idea that, wow, okay, I get that. I see how that works. I didn't think about that. Oh, I'd like to learn more about what it means to use, free publicity to grow my business, or I want to learn more about how I can use my book in conjunction with an online lead generation funnel in Facebook. So now, we've given them these tips. The next step is the very bottom. Okay, what do we do now from here? Do we ask them for a strategy session, a one-on-one consult? Do we take them to some video series? You have to figure out what that looks like for you. For me, the next step is always clear, and that is, it would be something along the lines of, hi, I'm Rob Kosberg, and you can go to my video, my 19-minute video outlining 3 confidential client case studies. Or if you'd like to do a one-on-one consult with me, then bam, you can do that. I'm getting some sound is wobbly. Sorry about that, guys. Audio quality's breaking up. Come on, go to webinar, help me out. Got some echoing going. Sorry about that. Getting some strange feedback. Okay. Well, normally it only happens for a minute or two, and then it clears up. So let me know when it clears up. My apologies for that. Usually the recording is perfect. So we're at about the 47-minute mark. So if you need to go back and watch the recording of this part, then please do so. So we've outlined now the 5 tips, right? You figure out what those look like, but you're going to do that from an outline of what your strategies are. You're going to figure out, again, in a brief paragraph, how to explain that tip. And then you're going to take them to what the next step is with you. And typically, the next step is going to look like some type of one-on-one consult, or maybe some type of video to where they can get an additional level of engagement with you. Okay? So let me get some feedback from you guys. Oh, by the way, I'll show you. The next step is the next step. For me, the next step, and for you, my suggestion would be the next step would look like something like this. It would be a video with, for me, again, application for my strategy session. It's really nothing more than a one-on-one consultation. I think almost all of you on the line have had that with me or with my project manager, Sean, at one point. That is the next step in engagement for me. So the tip sheet or the tool sheet can lead you very, very clearly to that next step of engagement. So let me get some feedback from you guys. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'll give you 10 or 20 seconds. What's been most valuable in this process? Tell me what you've kind of gotten out of creating the tip sheet on the money map. Give me some feedback on what's been helpful here. A lot of feedback on that. Yeah, I know we're still getting some feedback there. So step 2 is Haley's asking, so step 2 is a free in-home consultation for home care. I think that would be a great next step for you, Haley. I think, obviously you want to get one-on-one with people. There's no reason. It could be in-home because you're working primarily with people that are, are going to be local. Maybe that is a little bit too much of an engagement. I mean, maybe it should be a phone consultation first, or a one-on-one, home care strategy call. They, it may be a simpler step to go from the one-page PDF to a phone call rather than from the one-page PDF directly into an in-home appointment. You have to be the judge of that because you know your ideal client a lot better than I do. Jeffrey, one-on-one is very limited in numbers you can handle. How about an automated system? Absolutely, Jeffrey. We didn't talk about that. I've talked about that in some other videos, but one suggestion in your business might be to take them from the one-page PDF directly into an automated webinar. So, as an example, let's say that you're using this one-page tip sheet that is generating leads and adding people into your list on a daily basis. The next step for you, rather than one-on-one, could be your 60-minute webinar. And in the 60-minute webinar, we go over boom, 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 boom. We show you these case studies, which created these life transforming events for people. And now they're going from, remember, they're most interested at that moment. They're going from, okay, I've gotten a lot of value from this one-page tip sheet. Now Jeffrey comes out and I engage with him just a minute on video, and now I have an opportunity to watch a webinar. That webinar can lead to a sales pitch. I think you should feel very comfortable. Any of us should feel very comfortable doing a webinar that pitches something $5,000 or less. 5,000 may be on the high side, but some of you are my clients because of the webinar that I did, and my price points were $6,000 as a low and $12,000 as a high, and I did my presentation and I presented it right on the webinar. So I did that as a test. It worked for me. It could certainly work for you as well. So yes, you're right. One-on-one is very limited, but for many of us that we're looking at making a sale that's $10,000 or $15,000 client value to us, we're going to do one-on-one. In your case, you might not want to do one-on-one. The next step may be the webinar. Jade says sound is good again. Thank God. Okay, Jeffrey says most helpful is the tip sheet idea. Good. Oh, by the way, that tip sheet that I showed you, I have a Word doc example for you guys that I will give you the link for. I'll put it on my website, have my tech guy do that. And then that way you can just kind of cut and paste. You don't need to create your own if you don't want to. If you want to use that, just change out the images, change out the title and all that stuff. You can use my tip sheet. So if you want to, if that's helpful to you, let me know. Emily says, sounds good. All right. So Haley, I think I can see the next steps that I need to follow. Good. What are those next steps for you, Haley? I'd like to hear that. Take a minute and type that in. Wayne is learning about Lead Pages software. Good. You know what? I know the guys at Lead Pages. Maybe I can even have a webinar set up with one of those guys so they can talk about how to simply create your Lead Pages funnel. Certainly that's a webinar that we need to do because it's a real integral part of this whole process. And I'm telling you, it is not difficult to do. The hardest part for me in setting up my Lead Pages funnel is the copy, figuring out the best headline and figuring out what bullet points. That's the hardest part. So no problem, Wayne. We can get you help with that. Terrence says free health assessment with a fitness coach. So that's your next step, Terrence. I like that next step. I don't know about the languaging. Is that like common language that you would use, a health assessment? If it is, then great, go with it. If that works for you. Randy says 3 tips to build relationships followed by one-on-one conversation. Yeah, sounds good. I mean, you need to be more specific than 3 tips to build relationships, but you need to think in terms of what the benefits are. Obviously, you're not talking about male, female, romantic relationships, Randy. I don't think so, unless you've changed your business and didn't tell me. I think you're talking about business relationships. So Jeffrey says, thanks, that will work. I have content for it also. I have a 30-minute infomercial type video. Beautiful. Well, you could convert that 30-minute infomercial video into something that offers, your product at the end of it. Your product meaning, the testing that you do. Love that. Yes, Jackie says, would love the Word doc. Okay, Jackie, you got it. I'll put that up for you, no problem. Haley, 7 to 10 questions you should ask a home care provider. Love that, and also think in terms of, why you want to ask those questions, Haley. Like what's the benefit of asking those questions? What's the danger of not asking those questions? Think about that, and I know you've experienced that yourself. Not only in your business but personally. So think about what the problems are and relay those problems in your copy. Headline will be the hardest part. I get that. That's the hardest part for me as well. But send me some different examples, and we're going to talk in just a second about what that, how we can help each other accountability wise and create some better community with this stuff, because you guys are really smart business people. You're good marketers. We can create, within the Facebook group, some opportunities to help each other. Emily, my one-on-one would be a mini tax review, but that requires receiving their tax returns, something people may not be comfortable providing. Good. You're right. They probably wouldn't be comfortable providing initially. But you know what? Most people are not comfortably giving me $12,000 after a telephone call, or before a telephone call either. But after the 1 hour consultation, usually that is the case. So don't limit yourself thinking, well, I can't get their tax returns or whatever. Get them into that one-on-one consultation and start figuring out, use the strategy on closing high-end client webinar that we did a few weeks ago. Use that strategy and that process to take them through the steps necessary to help them in whatever ways you can help them. And then they'll give you their tax returns. They'll give you whatever they need, whether they came to you through Facebook or through a referral, Emily. Don't worry about that. When would you use a webinar versus a strategy session? Antonio says, good question. Okay, so when would I use a webinar? I would use a webinar if my price point was lower. So if I had a $2,000 or less price point and I was trying to generate, a massive number of people that were coming to me that I could not handle one-on-one in calls, but instead was offering something that had really high intrinsic and value for their business or for them personally. So the webinar itself can have a twofold purpose. So the first reason for the webinar would be if you're offering something, again, $2,000 or less, then you can use the webinar to sell that. You don't need to sell that one-on-one over the telephone with people. A webinar will do that just fine, and all you have to do is keep driving traffic to your one-page tip sheet and then your best-selling book into the webinar, and you're going to convert people like that. The second way you could use a webinar is this. You can use a webinar to filter out really the people that aren't your ideal clients. So one of the things that we're putting together right now is a webinar that leads to a strategy session. So I have a webinar that leads to a close, and I'll still do that from time to time. But primarily, again, because we're talking about a five-figure sale, we do need to be one-on-one with people to make sure that they have a business that is advanced enough to really use these strategies of a best-selling book. I need to qualify the client as much as they need to qualify me. So I need to speak to, or my project manager will need to speak to many of these people, really most all of these people at some point or another before we can consummate a sale. So what we do and what we're starting to do now is, rather than take them from video into the strategy session, which we've had great success with, but I've been running the same video for, gosh, 9 or 10 months now. So it's really time to change things up. We're going to now run a longer 45 minute to hour webinar that closes people into a strategy session, one-on-one conversation with either myself or Sean, my project manager. So that can be part of your marketing funnel, which leads them directly to a strategy session, and it qualifies them. It says, here's who this works with, and here's who it doesn't work with. Here's who I want to speak to, and here's who would get the most value out of it. A webinar could do that for you as well. Hopefully that helps there, Antonio. Al, for me, the concepts again are solid. I get them. I have the content, just still struggle with the visual design of the ad, lead page, etc. Okay, so here's the deal, Al, and you were really good at this, and I congratulate you for that. But we've all kind of fallen off a little bit. Here's the challenge that I'd like to give you guys, and I'll start with this with you, Al, because of your question. Um, if you feel like this is something and building this kind of funnel out would be helpful to your business, and you feel like, okay, I don't have my book yet, but I totally see how I can do this tip sheet. Or if you do have your book, hey, even better. The next step then is to create your magnet, whether it's the one-page tip sheet or tool sheet, or it's your book, and create the page itself. As far as what you're saying, Al, the visual, the design of the ad, the lead page, etc. To create that, I don't care how ugly it is. I don't care what it looks like. Create it. Get into momentum. Get into action, and then post a picture of that on our private Facebook group. I will review it on the group. And I would ask that you guys review each other's, what you like about it, what's attractive about it, what your bullet points are, etc. This way we can help each other to, 2 heads, 3 heads, 17 heads, 51 in the group, way better than just one. So I'd really love to get some interaction from you. So here's the commitment that I want. If you want to do this, just type in your box, yes, you'll do it. That you're interested in building your tip sheet out, getting some accountability and some help within the group, and the group will be there to help you in that. So, Al, whatever you have, post it in the group. Go ahead, be the first guy to do that. I'll give you some feedback on that. I know you and I have a call scheduled next week where we're going to talk about some of these items, but let's go ahead and get some community going and some interaction going within the group where we can help each other. All right, Terrence says one sales funnel we're currently working on is the use of social media as a vehicle and video testimony. Why Iron Revolution has changed people's lives for the better. Love that. Love that. And if you give us some examples of the pages that you're using and the videos you're using in the group there, Terrence, then we'll give you some feedback on that. Jeffrey says, confused on the book, bestseller or given away for free. Okay, when I talk about giving it away for free, Jeffrey, what I'm talking about is giving the book away after the book's already become a bestseller. I absolutely believe, maybe your question is a little different, I don't know, but I absolutely believe that if you have a client value of a few $1,000s, who cares if someone pays $1, $2, $10, or $20 for your book? There's not enough money in the book for this to be a value. The real value is in using the book to attract your ideal client to you. So when I talk about, free, etc., obviously we do a free promo period of the book when we launch it. We do 99-cent review strategy. I mean, we do lots of things to get reviews and get sales and get downloads. But all of that really leads to the strategy of using your book to attract your ideal customer to you. Terrence, we've chosen approximately 10 current clients in a diverse background. Good. Okay, that's for your videos. Haley says yes. Jackie says yes. Jade says yes. Keon, hey, Keon, how are you? He says yes. Jeffrey, yes on the tip sheet and the group participation. Awesome, Jeffrey. Thank you. Randy Pierce says yes. Great. Al Wagner, yes. Good. That's a lot of yeses, but there's a bunch more of you guys on the line, so I'd like to hear yes from you if you're going to participate. What I want you to do is I want you to create your tip sheet or your tool sheet. I want you to think in terms of a one-page PDF, something really simple, easy for you to do, easy for the customer or potential client to digest, and then start thinking through what's the headline, what does the ad look like. If you have lead pages, then start building out the page. If you don't, then get it. You can go, I think I have it on my site at robcosberg.com/lead pages. You can check it out there. It's a great tool. It's one that we use every single day. So Antonio, not sure if this part of the program is right for your business. Totally get that. No worries. We'll talk more. Haley says, I dare you. Great. So participation, you want it. I love it. Okay, good. So I think that's enough for now. There's a lot more for us to talk about in kind of future client sales funnel, parts of this. As I said, we're going to talk about some advanced Facebook strategies. We're going to talk about setting up your landing page. We're going to talk about autoresponder follow-up, setting up JVs, all of that. For now, are there any additional questions? I know I've asked a lot of questions, answered a lot of questions up until now. I want to know if there's any other questions that you guys might have regarding this. Otherwise, If you already have, your landing page up or lead page up, then post it. Post in the community. Post this weekend. I'm on it pretty regularly. So I really want to hear from you. I really want to see the lead magnet that you've come up with so that we can critique it and help you with it and begin driving some traffic to it and growing your list. So I'll give you 10 or 15 more seconds. Anything else? Any additional questions, guys? Let me know. I'll hold on for 10 or so more seconds. Jeffrey's looking for the private link to Facebook. When you say you talking about the mastermind group? No problem. I will, what should I do here? Let me see. I can probably just post it right now in answer to everybody's question. Yes, thanks. Good. Tips on driving traffic. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we're going to use Facebook to drive the majority of the traffic that we're going to be working with. So let me just go on Facebook really quick here. Bear with me a second. And I'll get you, Jeffrey, the link there. So let's go on Facebook. It's Bestseller Mastermind. That's a private link. You're already a member of that. Let's see. Here it is right here. So this is it. I'll put this right into the group. Send to all. Okay, so I believe you got it. So that's the link to the page. Please go to it, post in there, this is the page itself where I posted the upcoming webinar. I'll post the next one as well, which we're going to do pretty quickly. So I guess that's it. Jeffrey, you are welcome, my friend. I think we're good. If there aren't any other questions, then guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks again. You guys are awesome. Please, let's hold one another accountable, help each other, encourage each other, and use these tip sheets to really grow our business, grow our list until our books are done. If your book is already done, then that's your baby. That's what you want to use. But if your book's not done, then the tip sheet is going to be the way to do it. Okay, guys, have a great day. If there are no other questions, you're welcome, Terrence. Thank you, my friend. And I will be speaking to you real soon. Have a great day.